Hey everyone, welcome to episode 156 of the Littleroot Lessons podcast. As we all know, Carter is not here today. I am joined by Ro, now third or fourth time on the podcast here. Gonna be interested to start coming a regular here.
I actually think it's more than that.
Is it?
So we have Secaucus.
Yeah.
We have the week leading up to Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
The holiday episode.
Yeah.
And this is my fifth. And actually, yeah, I think I've been on the podcast, because it is February. I've been on the podcast at least once a month since November.
Yeah, since Secaucus, or since before Secaucus.
Pretty much at this point.
A regular.
I'm gonna put. I think I joked about this in the last episode. When we're done recording, I'm gonna put Littleroot Lessons permanent guest host in my Twitter bio.
Or you can just kick Carter out of his spot. That also works.
I mean, he did the Twitter fingers for me to.
I was about to say, just swap jobs. It's fine. Carter is going to be out in Knoxville at least until middle of this week. So, hope everyone had fun meeting Carter over there. He did not come away with the trophy like he wanted, but still had a whole lot of fun. I think I'm going to claim all my Pokemon back now that everyone's done playing with them. It was just like, if you win, I might let you keep them. But since you didn't win, I want them back. They're mine.
I will say this, just in general for the team building. Shout out to Spack the Titan for not only helping Carter, but Jay, Poppy, and Aaron, who
unfortunately
sadly wasn't able to go because life sucks sometimes. But they were working on all four of the teams that we're going to bring to Knoxville, and just right at the top, huge shout out to them.
Yeah, they did a lot of help prepping the boys for this event in general. I ended up just EVing all of Carter's team, figuring out all the calcs for it for the most part. I know Spack did a lot of work for Jay, helping with Jay's team figuring it out. Poppy had Paul Chua in his back pocket doing all the work for him.
Paul Ruiz.
I thought it was Chua. Was it Ruiz?
They're both goats.
Yeah, they're both good. And then I think Spack did the most of Aaron's team too. I just did a lot of the figuring out minute calcs and things like that. I will say we had the best Brute Bonnet set in Knoxville probably. That was my favorite thing to build, because I found out Pikalytics is Brute Bonnet set is wrong. I found out the hard way doing calcs for it. I'm just like, none of these add up. Why is this so weird? It's because the base HP in their system's wrong. That's why. That's why nothing adds up.
Also, Pikalytics, on your team builder, make it so you can search Gen 9 Pokemon. I've been asking for this actually since Gen 9. So
I pointed out the error on their Twitter. I did DM'd them on Twitter just to point it out to them. Haven't heard anything back from it. It hasn't been fixed. So I don't know if they're just too busy doing other stuff or what, but hopefully it gets fixed eventually.
I'm hoping so as well. I mean, just in general for them, I think it seems like it's a once a month thing that they go in. So maybe they'll see all of our complaints and they'll fix everything.
Yeah, maybe they'll all get fixed. Also, happy Pokemon Day. It is Pokemon Day today.
Yes, it is Pokemon Day.
You'll notice that this episode's probably uploaded an hour or so earlier than normal, because Pokemon Day's announcement would be right at our normal upload time, and we wanted to get it out of it before that, so you could hear our fun Pokemon Day guesses and things like that, which that'll be at the end of the episode today. You've already been leaking to me about you have some very wild guesses, and I know you're excited to get to them.
Yes, and that'll be to the end. I'm just saying, I have not, and please, if someone did have this prediction and it does come true, or even just in general, let me know. I want to know, because I haven't seen this prediction from anyone, but it is galaxy brain stuff.
So Knoxville and Bochum both had regionals this past weekend. Bochum we didn't really get to see a whole lot of because coverage for Knoxville was the main highlight. I think Victory Road was doing coverage for Bochum, which they do a lot of the coverage for the EU events usually anyway. Unless they're like the only event happening, and then I think the Pokemon Company comes in and handles it, like EUIC and things like that. Shout out to Marcus for taking down the entire Bochum regionals with a really cool team. I really, really like this team. For those that may not be aware, we'll have it up on screen, the top cut and all that for them. But the team that Marcus won with had a lot of standard stuff, and then just kind of slapped on an Iron Jugulis out of nowhere.
Yeah, and even just the standard stuff. So, just looking at this, I'm assuming that Marcus, who is really good friends with Wolf Flick, they used the same 6 this weekend. Yeah. And when you look at the certain techs, the main tech that I really liked was the no water type coverage Iron Bundle with Encore, which was really, really neat. And Marcus was able to use that tech in order to take, I want to say, I actually might be mixing up Marcus and Wolf's battles. One of them used the Encore tech. Yes, I think it was Marcus who encored an Iron Hands into Fake Out in order to take a set.
That was Wolf, too. Wolf did that, too.
Okay. So Wolf did that. So Marcus, so you had that, and then it was Trick, Specs, Goldango, and in game 2 of his set, he went and used Trick on Alex Soto, who came in 2nd place. Congratulations, Alex. So he went and tricked Specs onto the Indeedee that was using Trick Room, and he had his Gothitelle, Marcus had his Gothitelle next to his Goldango. So pretty much
it's like you're stuck. You have to click Trick Room. There's nothing else to do.
And what he was able to do as well was, or even like in game 1, Alex's team just couldn't put any pressure onto Marcus's Gothitelle, where it pretty much just sat there, and whenever he got Trick Room up, it was undo Trick Room. And between those two, and honestly, the Iron Jugulis. The Iron Jugulis was really, really big because it was using its really fast snarls and its Dark type in order to stop the Psychic type attacks from really doing a lot of damage into Marcus's team. The snarl and the typing to also support the Gothitelle and to then allow the Goldango to sweep.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I talked about Roaring Moon on the previous episode of the podcast being able to do this fast support thing, having access to Snarl, Breaking Swipe, and all that stuff, and Tailwind. Iron Jugulis gets to do a very similar thing with a different typing, so there's no 4 times weakness on Iron Jugulis, and you do have that very fast Snarl, that very powerful Tailwind. Being able to play Booster Energy, and I'm not sure if they were Booster Energy Speed, which it seems the most likely.
They were.
But overall, just Iron Jugulis as a good, strong Tailwind setter is a cool thing to have. And then, like you said, the Trick Goldango is very, very powerful. Gothitelle being ever so popular in this format to prevent a lot of pivots. Something we're not used to seeing a whole lot coming from the Sword and Shield era, where it's just like if you're Dynamax, you kind of just want to sit out in front of it. But now without having to worry about Terra just falling off if you switch, you kind of want to play that pivot, get in a good position game, and Gothitelle just comes in and shuts all that down.
I think that was something that Aaron Zane was saying on stream today, where it is a lot. There are a lot of differences from Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield in terms of VGC, and he said it was closer to the older VGC, pre-Sword and Shield. Not only did Dynamax allow you to make it so that it was more so, here's my Dynamax Pokemon, I'm going to have my other 3 Pokemon are here to maximize the 3 turns of this Dynamax.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of that, not as much pivoting, a lot of kind of protect the king, so to speak. And the other thing he mentioned was how During Generation 8, the attack Protect wasn't really as powerful or as popular. Not only could Protect still be hit through with the Dynamax moves, but the other thing was all status moves, once you became Dynamax, were just Protect.
Yeah, like they were just Protect, so you didn't have to play them.
So yeah, you could have a Trick Room setter with 3 attacks that was like Cali Ice being an example of this. You wouldn't have Protect in your Cali Ice. You would just have Trick Room because that was Protect, and in ways it was like having a 5th move, especially if you had a Pokemon that you were again using Cali Ice as an example. A lot of times that was going to be the Pokemon that you were maxing, and now it's a lot more pivoting. It's a lot more dynamic, even in terms of a lot more Pokemon are running Protect. Personally, I think Protect is amazing in Open Team Sheet, and I think it's mostly because when I've played in Open Team Sheet events, I'm going to use the Rumble I played in for an example, where I had an opponent and they had a Pokemon that wasn't... I knew that they didn't have Protect on one of their Pokemon, and they also didn't have any redirection out there. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I could double into that spot, and whether it was the Pokemon that was there or a switch-in, something was going down. And it was a play where if I didn't know that information, if I thought that, could they have Protect, I wouldn't have made that move. And that's just another part of the Open Team Sheets. If you don't have those Protects, if you don't have like those options on your team, those tools, I'm not saying I'm a great player. I think I'm good, but I'm not great. But like, if I can say that I can create an immediate pin and know exactly a weak point and pretty much guarantee a KO, some of the players you're going to see, especially on day 2 of these events, are able to do it as well. So yeah, Protect's good. Protect
is very, very good. Looking through the rest of these teams here, you mentioned Alex Soto's team. Very, very hard Trick Room team with Armarouge and Didi. Something that a lot of people have been kind of hard on here lately, just not being able to do a whole lot in terms of Open Team Sheet. Played it very, very well, getting to 2nd place here. Playing that Scarf Annihilate that was seen in Series 1 very, very early on. Also has Goggles, Terra Dark, King Gambit, Charcoal, No Protect Torkoal, which feels very, very dangerous. And then this Life Orb Hatterene with triple coverage and Trick Room. So essentially you have 3 Trick Room setters on this team, and so it can be hard for your opponent to kind of figure out what's going to set Trick Room, how am I going to stop this thing?
And I think just going back to Marcus's answer was, I don't care what sets Trick Room.
I just trick it. I just trick it.
I'm going to snarl you, I'm going to trick you, I can Encore you, and his Gothitelle also had Trick Room, so if you got it up, if you aren't getting rid of the Gothitelle if you're not getting rid of the Gothitelle in the first turn of Trick Room, well, losing your Trick Room.
Like, Marcus's answer was very, very good, because it's just like a situation of Soto has to set up Trick Room. If Soto clicks Follow Me on the Indeedee to set up Trick Room with whatever's next to it, the Indeedee is now locked into Follow Me, and it can't switch out, which is fine. It's not dealing damage anymore. So then your Gothitelle can just reverse Trick Room going the other way, because Armarouge likely is not KOing you at any point.
And again, that just goes with what I was saying just right before. With these Open Team Sheets, if you know that, again, people don't have Protect, you know that they are going to make certain moves, you can create those immediate pins and to focus out on the spot.
Yep.
Moving on, I mean, not to just jump into Knoxville, but like I've even like certain things with gameplay and best of 3s. I know it's Knoxville. If you want to go into that, or if you want to talk about the Pokemon we're seeing in Knoxville first.
I want to look at the rest of these Bochum teams real fast, because there's some cool stuff. There is a Dozo in top 4. We'll talk about Dozo more in depth here in a little bit. I want to mention Aurelion Sola's another top 4 finish for them after their strong run in oh goodness.
OCSA?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, that was the event. They had a strong run there. They have another strong run here. They're likely qualified for Worlds already.
Definitely.
There's a Garganical in top 8 in the hands of Marco Silva. This looks to be Terra Ghost, which is interesting, going away from that Terra Poison. Nothing crazy out of the normal. Oh, there's a Mimikyu on the team.
I love Mimikyu. I was also going to say one of the nice things as well, like looking at Victor's team, the Dozo team, he also had, I'd say it's like a B-tier duo in Fluttermane and Ironmoth. People are able to use the Ironmoth's Acid Spray to chip away Pokemon Sash, and also
just pick up
Pokemon
KOs.
at -2, and then you follow it up with the Fluttermane.
Yeah, without having a lot of strong special attackers, like outside of exactly Fluttermane, that Acid Spray means that Tatsugiri can pick up KOs on its own. That means if you can't tear your Dragonite, Terra Blast is still a very strong normal type move into a -2 special defense, whatever.
I know it's Iron Moth. I think one of there's going back to the initial tier list that we looked at for the Paradox mods. I know Iron Moth wasn't one that we were really super high on. Iron Jugulus, again, another one that we weren't really super high on. I think we put Iron Jugulus in D tier or something.
Yeah, which
and it won a major.
I mean, we put Screamtail in C, and it happened to also win a regionals.
I wanted it in B. I compromised for C. But
so
yes,
what it goes more into saying is just like these people who are winning with it are very, very good, and the average player just can't take these Pokemon, shove them in their team, and win events with them.
Definitely yes. I will also just go and say that these are also Pokemon where I think early on we didn't, and it's maybe again because we aren't Wolf or Marcus, didn't see the answers to how they could be used, but like I think even like your D tier Paradox Pokemon, I think the answer is just they're all comparatively just all really, really good Pokemon.
Yeah,
and they all can do something.
They're all base 570 plus stats. The average Pokemon is nowhere even close to that. So when you have access to an extra 30 stats on the average Pokemon, of course it's going to be better than most everything else in the format. But that's about it for Bochum, really. Nothing crazy happened there. Marcus winning an event is nothing new.
No. Not at all.
And so, I know you mentioned talking about the usage stats for Knoxville, which
yes.
You have a lot of notes from day one on, because I didn't get to watch a lot of day one. I was at work.
I was able to watch. It was mostly like VOD. I had to as you know, if anyone who's viewing the video hasn't noticed, a lot different from where I usually record. I just moved about 8 days ago, so I was I had my fiance's parents were over. They were helping us like hang some pictures up yesterday. So I had to like balance like being a functional adult and also trying to watch Pokemon tape like I was a high school football coach in Texas trying to prep for Friday Night Lights. But yeah, I do have some notes. So overall, your top 12 Pokemon for day one were, in this order, Fluttermane, Iron Bundle, Iron Hands, Amoonguss, Great Tusk, Arcanine, Goldengo, Talonflame, Roaring Moon, Dragonite, Tyranitar, and Palafin. So, looking at just some overall notes, that top three of Fluttermane, Iron Bundle, Iron Hands, they are the three Pokemon that we put in S tier in our Paradox tiering, and it's been the same top three all season. I think the only difference was
where they were at in the top 3. I think Iron Hands had Orlando.
Yeah, and then so it's been Fluttermane, Bundle, and Hands. It was the same order for OCIC, and Iron Hands was I think it was like Iron Hands, Iron Bundle, Flutter. I think
Flutter.
it's like that's what it was. Other notes, just little fun things. The top 6 overall is the same as OCIC, with Amoonguss, Great Tusk, Arcanine filling out the rest of the top 6.
Not surprised by that.
And 5 out of the top 6, the one not be, 5 out of the top 6. So it was the top 4 in Arcanine were in the top 4 Orlando. Another fun thing, Goldango has been number 7 for all 3 events.
Yeah, that's understandable. It's competing with Fluttermane for that same spot as strong Ghost type special attacker on teams. And there's teams that play both, but it's hard to justify playing both when everyone has a good, usually strong answer in their own Fluttermane to these strong Ghost types. Or their own Goldango, or even a Tyranitar, or other Dark type Pokemon that can tear away from its fairy weakness and just blow them up.
Now, finally, like my final note here is it's the latter 3 Pokemon in the top 12, Dragonite, Tyranitar, and Palafin, are newcomers to the Day 1 top 12. Dragonite appearing on seemingly every team, filling almost every role you can think of. It has weirdly become a hard-hitting Gloomon that fills many roles on many teams. That's honestly just a really, really fun Pokemon to use.
Who knew giving Dragonite an actual flying type move was going to make it really good?
You mean that wing attack wasn't enough?
No. You mean Special Hurricane wasn't enough? No.
You mean Aerial Ace wasn't... Actually, no. Aerial Ace, that's for when they put Chance's Shuckle back in here.
If they ever do that. Heaven
please
forbid
no. I can already hear Nishant and Carter just like pulling up their degenerate teams with that.
Gosh.
Moving on with the other 2, Tyranitar is, I know we mentioned Armarouge and Didi, which I think we're going to be talking about this stat archetype a lot later on, and we already just did with Bochum.
Yeah.
But Tyranitar is, again, another Gloomon. You're going to see that a lot with those Talonflame Great Tusk teams as the glue to help against the Trick Room teams. AV Tyranitar just sits in front of Armadidi and looks at it funny.
Yeah.
And then
there's nothing it can do.
Out.
Yeah, there's literally nothing it can do. The one cool thing that Tyranitar gets to do is it usually can carry either ice coverage or fighting coverage in that last move slot. And so if you really want to punish like the Indeedee cores, you just play Ice Punch in the last slot. So now they can't safely Terra in front of you ever, even if they have a like Iron Hand sitting next to you to try and hit you for flying. So because the way it works is the Indeedee Iron Hands Armarouge cores are waiting for you to waiting for you to Terra your Tyranitar into flying, and then Iron Hands comes in and cleans it up. Because they can live that Terra Blast and then OHKO you with a Wild Charge most of the time. And so now what you get to do is you can force the Armarouge to Terra Grass early, and you just happen to have Ice Punch to hit it anyway.
You know, it's again, who would have thought that the 2 pseudo legendaries like the
base 600?
Yeah, Tyranitar's good in VGC.
Base 600 Pokemon are very, very strong when everyone's playing base 570s.
What blows my mind a little is the fact that these are Pokemon like Dragonite just turned 27.
Yep.
Tyranitar is going to be like, I think it's going to be like the 24th, 25th anniversary of Gen 2, coming out in Japan. Like, these are Pokemon that can legally drink.
Yeah. These are Pokemon that are about as old as we are. They're very, very close.
Actually, I am like 5-ish months, almost 6 months older than Dragonite. like, we have many listeners and mod staff, supporters all over who are younger than these two Pokemon that we've just talked about, and that's just crazy.
Yep.
And then we have Palafin, who's a little baby who is just a winner, and I love him so much.
Let's see here. Palafin has won every regional it's been in since Series 2 started. Is that right?
It is 3 for 3.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, it's pretty much been on 3 different archetypes, and you're going to see it a lot. Palafin was 15.6%. It was number 12. We didn't see any Pelipper in the top 12, and it's because people are starting to realize that you don't need rain for Palafin.
Yeah, you don't have to have it. You can just Terra Water, and it's the same thing.
It does so much damage. And it is like because I was able to go into Gen 9 mostly blind, and I didn't even know what Palafin was. I think it was until like my 3rd day playing the game, I finally got to the area. I saw Finizen for the first time, and my first thought was, "Hello, you are now my new best friend."
You're my buddy now.
And then Spack told me that Pokemon's good, and I was like, "Thank God." But yeah, I've built, I've workshopped a few Palafin teams, and clearly a lot of people are if it's 12th in usage. And again, it's this first time all season where it hits the top 12, and that's just showing how good it is. I wouldn't be shocked if you see it break up a few spots into the top 10 in our next event, which is Vancouver.
Vancouver is next, yes.
Yes, Vancouver, because it's not only is it just naturally rising, but when you're, again, 3 for 3 in Majors wins, I think that if you aren't bringing Palafin at this point, you are not going to win a Season 2 Major.
I think people kind of figure out how to beat Palafin. We already have some really cool tech in the form of Gothitelle, kind of just stopping these Palafin from trying to do their thing successfully. You still can get away with it by usually just trading a KO for a KO. But a lot, like the Gothitelle plans are starting to really put the hurt and put the squeeze on Palafin, and it can be harder for it to succeed if they're not playing like flip turn. I'm sure we'll see more adaptations as the format kind of develops, because one of the cool things about Palafin is just like, yes, you do have to switch it out to get the actual big damage form. It deals a lot of damage on its own, but it's not very bulky. It usually the people aren't building a whole bunch of bulk into it, and so we'll start to see like Thunderbolt Fluttermane, Thunderbolt Goldango, maybe even some Thunder Punch Tyrannitars and things like that kind of start to creep into the format. Wild Charge Arcanine, just to deal with Palafin on the battlefield before it can become a problem.
Maybe even, I'm not sure like what would run it, but more Terra Electric and Terra Electric Terra Blast coverage. Like there are going to be options. I just think that it's a Pokemon that I just think it's a really unique Pokemon, and clearly a Pokemon that has that winning mentality.
Yeah.
Again, hasn't lost. Not yet.
Hasn't lost when it shows up, at least.
Yes.
Moving from the day 1 stats to the day 2 stats, there's not a whole lot of changes. Roaring Moon and Tyranitar drop out. King Gambit and Mousehold take their place. And just a couple of shuffle arounds here. 4 Paradox Pokemon, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row there. Fluttermane, Bundle, Iron Hands, and Great Tusk. They're all just the most used Pokemon in day 2. Not surprised. Amoonguss goes to top 5. Goldango gets out of 7th finally.
Goes to 6. Arcanine drops out of it. I think one of the things that's very interesting is that King Gambit was a Pokemon that was in the top 12. At least for OCIC. It might have been top 12 for Orlando as well. And it was its first time, or at least it's since the most recent event, out of the top 12. And when you move on to the day 2, it goes right back in, slotting in at number 10. Again, just to show that while overall King Gambit is on a downturn, the top players of Season 2 Series 2 still really, really like this Pokemon. And
it's still a very strong answer to the Fluttermanes and Goldangos in the format.
Exactly.
usually carrying that Assault Vest means you're also good into Bundle. It's just the Iron Hand and the Great Tusk that you have to really watch out for. But you have 5 of the Pokemon on your team to kind of play around that slot.
And as well, like, you can... I know that we've seen some Terra Fire King Gambits this weekend, but the Terra... and Terra Dark, in order to get those really, really strong boosts and Sucker Punches off. But Terra Flying as well. If you go Terra Flying, that King... Especially if you also have Terra Blast on your King Gambit, that Great Tusk goes from a massive weakness into a Pokemon that you're actually threatening hardcore.
Terra Water gets to do the same thing. It's just, as long as you have that Terra Blast, you can threaten those Pokemon.
But again, you're still weak to the Iron Hands. The Iron Hands is definitely a bigger issue.
Yeah, you're going to be weak to Iron Hands with any of those Terras except for Terrifier. That's the one you're not going to have to worry about.
And even then, it's just neutral.
Yeah.
I also we're seeing Mousehold. Mousehold, again, another really, really interesting Pokemon introduced in Gen 9. We saw it in Series 1 with that Population Bomb Technician, with Wide Lens just picking up KOs that no Pokemon should be able to pick up.
Yep, it's gone.
And it completely. It is now, it's Clefairy.
People have figured out that it's one of the best support Pokemon in the game.
No,
Friend Guard is so strong. Follow Me is very, very good.
Friend Guard's so strong that people are running Pavilion.
Yeah, like people are running Pavilion at these events just to have it. I really like Mousehold as a support Pokemon. Everyone who's been playing the Technician Population Bombs, it was cool for a little while being like, I'm a play Mouse Ape, but I'm going to pick up 2 KOs on turn 1. I like these support builds a lot better.
And I mean, like, and for those of you who are playing the support build, that doesn't mean you can't play Population Bomb. If you have the spot on your moveset on your moveset within your team to take advantage of that Population Bomb, go for it. It's not going to hit as hard as the Technician set, but it's still going to hit really hard. And
it also requires you to play the Wide Lens item to be reliable. That's the issue.
I never said the word reliable. I said you could pick up KOs. That is the key word.
No. Like, if you're going to play Population Bomb, you have to play Wide Lens with it, just so you can pick up those KOs. Because Population Bomb will not be picking up KOs without it most of the time. No. So, I do like the Super Fang, like, Baby Doll Eyes sets that are very popular. I like that it's not just Annihilate Mousehold anymore.
I like that as well.
I like that it's like, there's Great Tusk Annihilate. There's...
Great Tusk Mousehold.
Yeah, there's Great Tusk. Like, Great Tusk is now the Annihilate in that slot because it's just like, I don't want to get hit. Or if I do get hit, I want to be able to live more than one hit. And so now it's like, Mousehold slots really well into that slot because I'm going to give you extra defense with my Friend Guard. I can redirect some of the damage that you would be taking from single target attacks, and I can even kind of be more support than that because you get things like Taunt, Baby Doll Eyes, Super Fang to make sure you pick up KOs, stuff like that.
You also have Helping Hand, Feints to help break stashes, and also break protects. You have Beat Up. One of the combinations that I've really liked is using Beat Up Mouse not with Annihilate but with Goldengo and have it hold a weakness policy. Plays a little similar. Not exactly the same, but like going back to like Moltres G plus Comfy with the policy, or just like really Moltres G with any policy procer. Moltres gets its policy proc and then is able to use a spread attack that does a ton of damage. Goldengo, same exact thing. I mean, a +2 Make It Rain is a -2 Pokemon for your opponent.
Yeah. But yeah, the overall Day 2 data, Dragonite's still very, very good. I believe it was 9th before, and it jumped to 8th, which is cool. I can't read the percentages on the day 2 screenshot.
It was 23%. So going through, oh yeah, no, I grabbed an awful image. I can read it though. 58% of Fluttermane was top 58%. Dragnet was on 23% of teams. You also had Bundle at 50. I want to say, yeah, that's 55 or 56.4. So Bundle and Fluttermane were on over half of the day 2 teams. 55.
Which, not surprising.
Not at all. They are two of the best Pokemon. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And they're also insanely splashable Pokemon because you can, and I think that's one of the things with this top 12 or even the day 1 top, more so this top 12 than the day 1 top 12, but you can take 6 Pokemon from this list and mix and match them, and there's probably dozens of permutations of these six of these 12 Pokemon that can make really good teams. And that also isn't to say that the metagame is hyper focused, because it is not. We saw a lot of crazy teams this week.
Yeah, there was a lot of unique things going on. We'll get to those here in just a second.
Yes.
But overall, the event felt diverse. A lot of people going into open team sheets were worried that the creativity is going to die, the format's going to be stale, and it is very far anything from that.
This has been, I think this is partially because it is still in its limited dex format. Once Incineroar gets added back to the game, it's going to
I will be the first person to tell you the odds of Incineroar getting added to the game are very low.
So part of me doesn't want it for that reason, because I really like people using different Pokemon, different roles. Part of me also really misses it because, God, how brain dead it was to just say, okay, I need like 4 different things, and Incineroar does it all. Smack it on. Done.
Yeah.
Didn't have to waste any brain cells on that endeavor.
It's mainly just like Incineroar isn't hinted to be anywhere coming to the game. They're definitely looking at focusing on different generations of starters to come to the game, which that's all DLC stuff. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the odds of Incineroar, like Incineroar's nowhere to be seen in any of the game files. Not like it was in Sword and Shield, where it was hidden in the game files and was added in Series 3. We're going to get something similar to that, but it's not going to be Incineroar. It's going to likely be the Gen 6 starters. We already saw Greninja. We know Delphox and Chespin and Chestnut are also waiting in the wings for their event. We know the Gen 8 starters are also waiting behind for their eventual release of like Rillaboom and Inteleon as well. So we'll get our starters. We'll get our Series 3 refresh of the format like we got for Sword and Shield. But I wouldn't say that the early parts of this format is the reason why it's so diverse. I think it's just there's so many strong Pokemon that we can play and different archetypes that you can use, and you can more so pick and choose what you like and what you play with, because there's Pokemon that fill the same role across different teams.
No, they definitely are. Now, I will say one of those examples for a Pokemon that we saw a lot on stream is Ceruledge, and I am just going to use this time now to apologize to our friend Chris C. Larkin in the Discord, who I told was Ceruledge was just worse Annihilate, and I'm wrong. This is audio proof of me saying I'm wrong. And it's the last we're going to talk about this. But like the thing is, it's like at the basis, they're ghost type Pokemon that are physical attackers with a move that heals themselves. That's also stab, and they have bulk up, and you just bulk up, and then you just punch things and heal yourself and delete things.
Yeah.
But they went and while Ceruledge wasn't the Pokemon that you saw a lot on day 2, in day 1 it was on a lot of really unique teams, and especially with it was like a Steel Terra type. in order to take advantage of the flash fire ability, in order to make it, in some senses, unkillable, where Bitter Blade would recover more damage than it was receiving. It is a really unique Pokemon, and while it falls under that same household or like niche type as Annihilate, it also goes on different styles of teams, different styles of play, and it is a Pokemon that, like, while I didn't fully respect it, like, it is very, very good. Mm-hmm. And even what we're saying with Mousehold and Pavilion, like, sometimes you might want to support the Mousehold because Pavilion gives redirection and Rage Powder, but also gives speed control. You might want that. It also has Safeguard, something that Household doesn't have, and a lot of Pokemon don't have. There is a lot of status going around, whether it is Thunder Waves from Klefki's, Will-O-Wisp from multiple Pokemon, namely Talonflame and Arcanine, of course Amoonguss' Sleep. Having Safeguard, it's like that's its own like little niche, fast Safeguard to get that protection up that a lot of other teams, like, they don't have the ability to protect themselves from status.
Yeah. That probably wraps up overall usage from Knoxville. Let's talk about the top cut.
Let's.
The winner was the number 1 overall seed overall, Justin Tang. For those that may not know, this was their very first event, their very first regionals. Took it down in sweeping fashion, 12-2 through Swiss, and the team overall looks standard on paper. Like, you're not seeing anything out of the ordinary.
No, it is very standard. The team being Arcanine, Palafin, Amoonguss, Iron Hands,
Fluttermane, and Gothitelle. It's just
so 5.
Here's my Firewater Grass score. Here's my Iron Hands. Here's my Fast Mode. Here's my Gothitelle. Literally, it's just right down the line. Just very, very structured. Very, very simple. Checks a lot of boxes that are easy for people to kind of just pick up and play, which is really cool. But like you were saying, it is a lot of the most used Pokemon.
It is, and the thing is, it's like. But again, it's when you're going through a lot of these teams, there isn't another team in cut that looks like Justin's. Even though he's using 4 of the top 6 Pokemon and 5 of the top 12, there isn't another team on this list that's like, oh, this is Justin's team.
I mean, Luca's team is 5 of the 6.
You know... It's different, though, because there's only one kind of speed control, and Justin has 2. Unless I'm misremembering that No, his Goth does have Trick Room.
Lucas has Roaring Moon instead of Gothitelle.
Well, I'm saying, no, Justin's Goth has Trick Room, so that's what I'm saying. Like, the difference is, like, Lucas has 2 types of speed control, and, I'm sorry, Justin's has 2 kinds of speed control, and Lucas only has 1.
What's the second one on Justin's?
Doesn't Justin's Goth have a Trick Room, or am I remembering that wrong?
Justin's Goth has Trick Room. I don't know where you're trying to get your second form of speed control.
I can't count. That math degree is doing
I was about to say, I don't know
me.
where you're seeing a second speed control option here. It's literally just Trick Room.
Oh, God, Jesus. This is the last time I'm going to be on the podcast, apparently.
I'm about to say, Rose might have to get retired here.
We brought out to pasture.
But it is interesting that Justin's team and Luca's team are both very, very similar, with just one difference in the Gothitelle Roaring Moon slot. And they finished pretty close to each other, both 12-2 in Swiss, number 1 seed versus number 3 seed. There was Wolfclick in number 4, which had the Marcus Statter team, which was very, very powerful. I think Wolf just kind of got the short end of the draw when it comes to opponents in top 8, because Torkoal Lilligant seems very strong into what Wolf and Marcus were trying to do.
It definitely does. Literally, I like even just watching. So the top four. So Wolf's opponents in top 8. Nick Navari, also known as Nails on Twitter. So Nails is the set between Nails and Justin in the semifinals might be the best set I have ever watched, like at least for the Scarlet and Violet era of VGC. And that set specifically, so it was Terra Ghost, Lilligant, and the amount of immediate pressure that little flower child would put on the field the second it got on there is just so absolutely something else. Whether it was just the immediate sleep pressure, the after you, or just the damage it can put out with its grass type stabs, fake out immunity. And not only does the Terra Ghost give a fake out immunity, but specifically against some of the other teams in Top Cut, against Justin Tang, who Nails face and sadly did lose to in top 4. In the semis.
Top 4, yeah. That
Terra Ghost allowed Lilligan to act as his pivot against the Gothitelle.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, having those Terra Ghosts is important now, right?
It really is. You had 3 Gothitelles ran by Wolf Glick, Justin Tang, and the 8C Justin Karras in Top Cut. And Gothitelle was a Pokemon that was we didn't see it as much in OCIC, but going back at looking at the usage stats for Orlando, I believe it was 11 or 12 of the top 32 teams.
Yes, it was very high.
Yeah, I think it was like the number 4 Pokemon of like top 32 teams. And so it's like, at least for American trainers, Gothitelle is a Pokemon that the top players really, really like. And as you've alluded to earlier, it's because of that Shadow Tag, the ability to stop people from pivoting in and out, to force it into that chess game of I can move my pieces, but you can't. And through that, with the open team sheet, you're able to, especially these top players, are able to create these pivots and to create these turns where they can double target a single slot, and they know that they're pretty much getting a KO for free.
Yeah. Looking through the rest of Nick's team here, it has that Dragonite, it has the Great Tusk, it has King Gambit, so it has a very strong physical presence as well. King Gambit and Dragonite can both kind of just ignore the Intimidate from an Arcanine or anything else, which would be a threat to Great Tusk. And then we have Fluttermane to kind of round out the special attacking speed part of the team. Overall, Nick's team is very, very strong. I like it. I think we'll start to see more teams like that kind of approach the format. One of the things that you don't really think about, too, is the fact that Nick's Paradox Pokemon both benefit from the sun. And that's part of the reason why we don't see Torkoal as much, is because a lot of the good Paradox Pokemon are the ones that sun benefits.
And I think the other thing, and this is just something that a lot of people were saying, I know that initially when we did our thing, like, I was thinking maybe Group Bonnet more being a setup Pokemon, not setup, a Trick Room Pokemon, and Screamtail being like more of like a Trick Room setter than being just like the overall,
stupid
like, faster support
Pokemon.
That's why I thought that like Sun would be better. One of the key things, this is a Torkoal team that does not have Trick Room. We know this, Nails is, Fluttermane was a Specs Fluttermane, which was a very, very common tech throughout the course of this tournament. We saw a lot of Specs Fluttermanes using the fairy coverage of both Dazzling Gleam and Moon Blast, Shadow Ball coverage moves, such as we saw Thunderbolt and we saw Power Gem as the 2 most common fourth coverage moves.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, it was Justin who ran the Sash Flutter main, and that Sash was big because he was able to 100% eat that hit from opposing Flutter mains, and then depending on how they were trained, threaten them with either at least a massive chunk of damage done to them, if not an Oko, if the Specs Flutter main didn't have that bulk investment, or if they didn't, especially if they didn't Terra.
Yeah. The Specs Flutter mains get to play a little bulkier too because they're not having to worry about investing as much into their special attack because they're going to get those damage rolls a little easier, right? And so that's the trade-off, right? Is you either get to play the Sash and you have to invest fully in your special attack, or you play the Specs and play a little bit bulkier and still play fast, but you get to live those hits a little bit easier. You have a lot of the KOs that would normally pick up the uninvested non-Sash ones. You don't have to worry about it as much anymore.
I really do enjoy the Specs variant. I think it's very intriguing. I think we'll see more of it as everything goes on. I think that was another thing that we lost from Generation 8 was choice items didn't work with Dynamax, and so with no Dynamax, these choice items are a lot better. I remember in Series 0, there was some team that that Chase ran Tiki, and it was a triple choice team.
Yeah, it had all 3 items on it.
Yeah. And that was we haven't seen that.
In early formats, that's fine. in early testing formats, it's usually fine. Anymore, as the format starts to get to where we're at now, 1 to 2 choice items is fine. You don't want to be having all 3 on your team and be locked into really bad scenarios.
The fact that it, however, it's still there. We haven't seen even because I'm trying to. Did Nails use what was his Dragonite's item? Because I want to think it might have been banned.
It's either banned or Lum, because I believe the Assault Vest was on the King Gambit and the Sash was on the.
I want to say it was he did have it was banded, so he did have 2 of the 3, which is still 1 is a lot more compared to Generate, but having 2, that is definitely again a shift in how we're using items and how we're approaching item usage compared to the Dynamax format. That just shows the adaptation that players have been making.
Yeah. Moving to the other side of the bracket, we have our semifinalist runner-up, Aaron Clemens, Indeedee, Armarouge, Torkoal, Iron Hands, Murkrow, and Garchomp.
Yes, so this was 2 different events, Bochum and
Knoxville.
And
it's always
2 different Armadinis.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
So I actually am going to give you a ton of props for this, Carl. Right before we were recording, Chris and I were talking about this. When you made your Armadini video for the deep dive a few weeks ago, the main thing you came out of it was Armadini can be good. Armadini user needs to adapt. They need to figure out a better 4 to go along with the 2, and they need to move with the format. Aaron Clemens' team, along with the Armadini, featured Torkoal, Hands, Murkrow, and Garchomp.
Is this Murkrow's first top cut?
In Series 2, I think so. I think it might have had a top cut in Series 1 and got knocked out immediately. I know that it was a big thing, so Aaron was the only Murkrow user to make it to Day 2. So that is a 1 of 1. It is a tail room version. Even Chris was saying to me how it's when he was watching, when we were watching, he's I don't think I've seen at least on a lead, like Armarouge and Indeedee never led together, or like they were very rarely, if at all, on the field at the same time. It was always like mixing and matching the partner with one of those two key members. And having that really fast mode with the Tailwind with Garchomp there is like added an extra dynamic to this team. And when you went and made that deep dive, I'm not sure if like this is like the adaptation that you had in your mind, but it is an adaptation to what we expected the Armarouge and DD teams to look like at the start of Series 2. And while the archetype as a whole isn't doing like overall amazing, there are players who are taking it and then taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
In terms of the creativity, and Aaron definitely did that by making finals with a team that a lot of people wrote off as like a low table game.
I'm currently going back through and looking at like top cuts. Luca had Murkrow in London.
Okay.
In Liverpool, I mean.
Yeah.
And then there was another one in 8th in that event, but that is the only other event.
And Series 1 Murkrow was a lot different from Series 2 Murkrow.
Yeah, Series 1 Murkrow is a lot different than Series 2 Murkrow.
Series 1 Murkrow was actually used.
Yeah. Series 2, it's a lot harder to get away with it. Talonflame has become the premier Tailwind setter now because it has other tools that Murkrow obviously doesn't get that are relevant to the format. Will-O-Wisp being a big thing. But
I think the other thing that really helps Talonflame is the fact that with the Dark type Pokemon, or even the Pokemon that are going Terra Dark, you can Talonflame is still able to use that.
You still get to interact with them.
Yes.
You can't just sit there and watch them beat you up.
Yep.
But part of it is like they did kind of adapt to what I was talking about. It's just like Indeedee and Armarouge together have been notably strong. It's very strong in like the blind formats because they have a ton of moves you can pick from, and if you guess wrong, they usually just get you. But in the open team sheet is where they've always historically struggled. And I think having that Iron Hands and that Torkoal helps that a little bit. But also just having the fast mode, being able to go Tailwind plus Garchomp or Tailwind plus Iron Hands, and kind of maybe try to run people down, definitely gives this team a different type of feel than the standard traditional Indeedee Armarouge teams that we've been seeing.
Even like the Armarouge, like you can put it in Tailwind. There we go. That was my word.
Yeah, Armarouge is still fast.
I think it's like base 7. I can just look it up. I want to say it's base 70.
I think min speed is 72.
Where are you? 75. I mean, kill me for 5 points.
Base 75, so yeah.
Yeah, so, but like the thing is, like base 75, it's like it's at that speed point where, depending on how you train it, I don't think a lot of people are running 0 speed Armarouge. So like even if you don't have like any speed investment in it and you just have a 31 speed IV, so like neutral uninvested is 80. So you get to 160 in Tailwinds. Like that's not like insignificant. Like that's something to really like it's not the worst.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it's not like Torkoal, which it goes from insanely slower than any other Pokemon on the field usually, to still really slow. Like Armarouge, it's depending on the training of the other Pokemon, like an Armarouge and Tailwind should be able to outspeed like a Great Tusk and threaten it with a super fast expanding force or psychic or Psyshock. And that's something that you're able to do with that Pokemon, and again add that extra dynamic to the team, because there could be a point where maybe Trick Room isn't the right move, but you still want Armarouge.
Yep.
Well, you have the Murkrow with Tailwind, and you can position the Armor Rouge in a different manner.
Yep, still get to do your very strong damage if your Trick Room gets denied, essentially. Looking at the last two teams we haven't really touched on are both the Dondozo teams. Yep. After hearing how the patch notes are supposed to fix Order Up, I think a lot of players just like put Dondozo on the shelf and walked away from it because they weren't sure when the patch was going to go live.
I agree with that. Just from what people have been saying or were saying about the tournament, of people who were at the tournament, even I believe it was Justin right before the finals when they did like the finalists interview, said that he thinks. No, it wasn't Justin. I want to say it was. I know it was Justin said he only faced like one or two Dondozo, and Aaron like when they like said like I have not seen as many Dondozo and as he expected, and he was very happy about it.
I mean, most people are.
Yeah.
Dondozo is getting that Order Up fix is going to be a big hit to what Dondozo can do competitively, because you were already disadvantaged a lot of the time in the 2v1 situation. If they had any kind of like Arcanine or Haze or Clear Smog to really remove your boost that you get, being able to Order Up into a Protect or into a well-timed switch meant that you could at least still play the game. Now, I think seeing any kind of Haze from Palafin or Murkrow or anything, or any kind of good Intimidate pivot, the Dondozo matchup immediately just falls off a cliff. It's just done.
So I will go. I don't think it's going to be, because I know you last week you said that you thought it was going to be unplayable. I don't think it's going to be unplayable. However, I do think it's going to definitely fall off as a team. It's going to go into that more niche.
What you're gonna see is teams like the one that was in Bochum, the one without Order Up. There's no Order Up to use anymore. Now they're using whatever Tatsugiri because they don't care about Order Up anymore. They're going to use Wave Crash and Earthquake to try to deal their damage, and then use Substitute and Rest to kind of heal up and speed this bulky stall Pokemon.
So there were a couple things just looking at these Dozo teams. The first one, both of them are running the Double Ghost, Goldango, and Fluttermane. So I know Carl, you mentioned how it's like one or the other. Dozo teams want both ghost types.
Yeah, they want to pick up as many KOs as fast as possible.
So we had Zachary Thornburg, who both these teams outside of Fluttermane did not use any Paradox Pokemon. Zachary Thornburg, the 7th seed, who did lose to finalist Aaron Clemens in top 8, rounded out his Ghost Duo Dozo with Sylveon and Meowscarada. Now, Meowscarada is another Pokemon that we really haven't seen a lot of during Series 2. I know on Pikalytics in the last month of Series 1, Meowscarada was actually the number 1 Pokemon usage at like 40-something percent, 42%.
Mm-hmm.
And once Series 2 came along, it completely died off. I'm assuming it's because both Bundle and Hands and Fluttermane. Actually, yeah, it's because of the top 3 Pokemon, so that makes sense.
Yeah, for the most part.
That moment when you remember that Fairy beats Dark.
Yep, Fairy beats Dark, Ice beats Dark, Ice beats Grass, Fighting beats Dark. You don't hit anything really like super duper hard. Like, so you're kind of a sitting duck for the most part.
I think a Flower Trick probably would, because you're looking at base 55 HP and physical defense on Fluttermane.
If you outspeed it. That's the trick, is you gotta hit it first. And most of the time, you're not gonna hit it.
Now, Sylveon, on the other end, I really do like Sylveon, especially with all of the Dragonite coming up. We just saw Garchomp in top 8. We saw a Baxcalibur win OCIC. Now, I know a lot of those Pokemon have to Terra are going to Terra out of their fairy type weaknesses. However, if you're forcing a specific Pokemon to Terra, you can create pins, you can make educated guesses and educated decision making on certain play lines and force your opponent to play more linear, which even if like you're forcing their Excalibur to go Terra Poison, well, that means that maybe another Pokemon you have, like the Earthquake from Dozo now, is going to really threaten that Excalibur, and you're forcing it into that position because of that Sylveon. I think it's a very good Pokemon, and I think it's going to be one that might end up seeing more play in Vancouver and Fort Wayne.
What I'm interested in is Carson's team with this Flamigo. The meme team, dream team over here.
So here's the thing. So Esther went and said, "What is the Flamigo doing?" And I'm like, "It's the meme." And then she said, "Angelo, it's Sash Tatsugiri."
Yeah.
The meme doesn't work. So Flamigo is not doing the meme. It's just doing its best.
Oh no, it still gets to do the meme sometimes. Specifically into like things like T-Tar and other Pokemon doing that sort of thing. If you can get the Tatsugiri to its sash and then get it in the mouth, Sandchip will still hit the Tatsugiri and take it out, and then you still get to do the thing.
What?
Yeah. Tatsugiri is not immune to it just can't target it.
So it gets
Sand chip, poison chip, burn chip, all that works.
I knew the poison and the burn.
But like, what everyone's forgetting is there's Perish Song on the Fluttermane.
Okay, that also makes sense.
You get to just Perish Song, do the whole switchy swatchy thing, and then you have Co-Star activate with Flamigo with a big Dozo. That gets very sad seeing Murkrow across from it. Or Palafin. They're also doing the Wide Lens Population Bomb Mousehold.
Yeah, honestly, outside of the Fluttermane, it is a Series 1 team. Like, actually, I honestly want to say... like, legitimately, I think these are, like, 4 of the 6 Pokemon that Wolf Glick used to get to, like, the Day 1 Series 1 ladder.
You literally take Fluttermane out, put Annihilate in its spot. This is the meme, right? Like, this is I'm going to pick up 2 KOs. I may lose my Pokemon in the process, but I have Dozogiri in the back to just sweep you up afterwards, right?
I'm still distraught that, like, Tatsugiri gets hit with sand in Dozo's.
I'm 99% certain that still happens.
No, like, I'm just thinking of, like the actual, like, I'm going full Carter here. I'm thinking of the actual, like, physics of how does sand get into the Dozo's mouth. Does it go like...
Ow. Dozo's mouth is never closed.
I apologize.
Like, every time it opens it, so I'm assuming sand gets in there somehow.
Just baffles me. But yeah, the fact that this team made top 8 in a 650 person.
yeah, right? Like, this is the meme team. This is great, and I love it. And with that pretty much wraps up Knoxville coverage.
Pretty much super fun tournament. A lot of great Pokemon.
I missed half of it because I couldn't listen to day 1 coverage. Something with their microphones was driving me nuts.
We talked about this. I do think, and actually comparing to Victory Road, I'm not sure because the casters cannot say enough good things about the casters. I think they're amazing.
Yeah, they were great.
The production. I don't know if TPCI has switched production companies or if these
it could have just been the event hall, right? Like something.
It could be.
It's just as easy as something just being grounded and creating a loop in the microphones. I don't know what it was. I could hear it on my earbuds, and it was driving me up a wall. So I just had to take my earbuds out, put them away, and just watch. So I wasn't listening to what was going on while I was working, but I could come back and watch a little bit of it in every 5-10 minutes, and then I'd have to go do something else.
With that being said, 4 series, day 1 actually, so the Swiss round to day 2. Let me just talk about some of the Pokemon. I'm just going to mention names and the Pokemon we've seen. We saw a double weather Abomasnow Tyranitar team.
Sick.
So, we saw a team with Abomasnow and Camerupt on it.
Ooh.
We had an Electro team. These were
I heard about that one. That one I heard about.
Yeah, we had we had Electro. We had all the Cerulege teams. There were a lot of super. I saw Abomasnow 2 or 3 times this weekend, and just my heart. Ice type boys for life.
I do think Abomasnow plus Bundle can do something in this format. I think people just have to figure out the right support for it.
So I do know that in Japan there was an Abomasnow Bundle Palafin team that won this massive Japanese event, and it wasn't a usual best of 1. It was they actually did best of 3. I can't remember the other 3 Pokemon on it. I know the rental code's out there somewhere. Probably a little after this, I'm going to be
going to go find it.
I'm gonna I sent it to SPAC, and so it's somewhere in my DMs with them, and so I'm going to then get the rental code onto my cart, and I'm going to ladder the Master Ball, because I promised to myself that I was going to ladder the Master Ball every single month.
You got a day.
Yeah, I can do it. I went from Pokeball or beginner 1 all the way to Master Ball.
Let me rephrase this. You got a business day.
Amanda's upstairs watching Twilight. I'm fine. I can do this right after we finish. I can go and make dinner and then get to Master Ball. I need 7 wins. I'll be good.
I haven't touched VGC in a hot minute. I'm playing Unite. That's all I do now, because I'm not going to events, so I'm not going to spend time worrying about VGC formats and stuff for outside of content.
Yeah, I have a local hosted by the literal, no joke, the literal GOAT, the greatest person ever, in VGC, Chalky, in 2 weeks, and then there is another, in the New England VGC group, there's another, shop that is, trying to start monthly locals, in March, and turns out it's 25 minutes from my new apartment.
Well,
so I have no excuse not to go. So exactly. I might have 2 locals to go to in a month, and I have a bunch of ideas, and almost all of them revolve around either Abomasnow or Palafin or both.
Or both, yeah.
So I get to use a bunch of fun different teams. But yeah, it's no majors, maybe NAIC for me. I know
that's the weekend before the 4th of July now. So do with that information what you will.
Completely off topic, a little on topic. When I was younger, when I still lived with my parents, and my parents still lived up where I live and where I had the lake house, we would have absolute bangers. Because it was the 4th of July and we had a lake house.
Yeah.
Now my parents live 7 hours away and I'm in an apartment, so the 4th of July is not as fun anymore.
Nah, you still go out and have fun. It's just, you gotta have a different type of fun.
Yes, I will be in Columbus, Ohio. Can't think of anything to say.
I'm about to say, there's nothing fun in Ohio. I'll tell you that for free.
Initially, it was to go visit Aaron.
Nah, that's not a thing anymore.
And then he moved.
Yep.
So, actually, my old job there, my old job. So, my old job, the consulting company I worked for, was based out of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in Columbus. So, technically, I could go talk to my old boss.
I guess if you really want to go do that, you can go do that. I'm going to stay at home.
But yeah, that's you want to get into, because I know Carter gave his Pokemon Day. Do you want to give your Pokemon Day? We'll start with you first.
My Pokemon Day predictions are simple. DLC, Gen 5 remake, new mystery dungeon game.
Okay.
That's it. That's. I'm not a hard man to please.
Okay, so this is what you want.
This is. I'm expecting DLC, and I'm expecting a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon remake. I would like Gen 5 remakes just so I can play Gen 5 and not have to spend an absorbent amount of money just trying to pick up a copy of Black, White, or Black 2, Black, White 2. Because I don't know if you've seen the price of retro games for the Pokemon games. They are not cheap anymore.
I mean, in general, yes. I haven't looked at Gen 5 games because I still have... Actually, in my apartment, I have Black, White, my brother's White, my Black... Oh, my Black, his White, my Black 2, his White 2. So, like, that's not... Like, I still have the cards to do so. I will say this. It's not on my Pokemon Day predictions. I don't think we're getting... If we do get a Gen 5 remake, it's going to be a Legends. I think that's the next way we're going to do Gen 5. I think the next game, like Legends game, will be a Legends Unova. With the way that they're focusing, like, the flagship game of the generation is, like, the only game for competitive play, there really isn't much of a reason to do the remakes. On Nintendo's side, which is why BDSP were done by the third party game developer. And
it's not the third party; it's their subsidiary.
Subsidiary, yes.
Because they're still owned by Game Freak. It's just it wasn't the Game Freak team.
Yeah, and with how poorly recepted the reception was for BDSP, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I actually think a more likely endpoint for the Gen 5 games is they find some way to port the DS games to the eShop, and they're like, here you go.
We just got the Game Boy ones. We're not gonna get the DS ones anytime soon. We just got the Game Boy player. We're not getting the DS player anytime soon.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're getting.
We'll get a new Switch before we get that.
Yeah, I think we're getting a new Switch before we're getting Gen 5. Let's go into mine.
Yeah, you got a lot. You've been hyping these up all evening. So
mine start out very mild. It's going to be the usual new Cafe Remix updates, new Masters updates, Unite updates, Pokemon Go update.
I can tell you the Unite updates right now. Zacian, sure. Gudra, Lapras.
Okay.
That's it. That's all they got to do.
Give us the dates, that's fine.
Zacian's probably we have a patch today as of recording. Like, we're at the time we're recording, there is a patch for Unite going live right now. For tomorrow, I bet you dollars to pesos Zacian comes out tomorrow or today in Pokemon Day.
No, I definitely think that's going to be the case of, like, a character,
like
a Pokemon being added.
Like, here's Zacian.
Pokemon Go, you're going to get Pokemon Go news. I think the main Pokemon Go thing, and it was already hinted at, and apparently, like, I did some looking into it. It is already in, like, the most recent update so Pokemon Go was used to leak Gimmighoul, and it was already hinted in, like, the Pokemon Go, like, Gimmighoul video that they were going to do a Gimmighoul event later on to, like, connect the two games. So I think it's not going to, like, go live tomorrow, like, on Pokemon Day, but I think it's going to be announced, like, hey, we're doing this event where you can get, like, this Gen 9 Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and you'll be able to connect Pokemon Go with your Switch, which is the first, like, bigger prediction I have is that they will give us the date for Pokemon Bank compatibility.
You mean home?
So that yes, I dated myself about 10 years. Pokemon home compatibility. The second prediction that's like again, we're ramping up a little. 7-star raids. I think they're going to announce the schedule for Blastoise and Venusaur, so we can get all 3 Kanto starters. We already got 4 if you count Pikachu. Yeah, we let it off with Charizard. We just got Pikachu, and one of the key things to note with the Pikachu raids that are currently live right now is that the Pikachu raids are ending at the end of the Pokemon, like right as the Pokemon Day presentation is about to start.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they end on the earlier side. They're actually having them go a little longer, so it ends like right before the presents. So
yeah,
I think
it's the Pokemon Day celebration early thing.
Yeah.
I will burst your bubble. The models for Venusaur and Blastoise aren't in the game right now. So they'll have to add those in via the patch if we're going to do that.
Yeah, we have the patch. Okay. Well, that's a gamble by
They
me.
weren't in the patch notes saying that they're adding that, but if it might.
They also had. Yeah, they also had that little sentence of "we're adding other things," and maybe the other things they're adding are the other 2 Kanto starters.
Maybe, probably not, but who knows?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Next, I also think this is actually on the safer side. DLC.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 2 waves. I think we're going to get a
just
summer
like they did
release.
before, a summer and a winter.
Yep, a summer, and like a late fall, early winter. The next thing, so I do think we're going to get a mystery dungeon. It will not be a new mystery dungeon. I think
you're just going to revamp.
I think we're going to get the Gen 3 games plus Red Rescue Team added to the eShop.
Do you mean like the
Pokemon Red Rescue
the Game Boy ones, like on the Game Boy Player?
Yep.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, that's what
it wouldn't make much sense to do those since they have the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX is essentially the first one remake.
Yeah, but they can double dip and make you go and buy the online, and you'll have it there. Or for the people who didn't get the Mystery Dungeon, they can go and say, "Oh, well, I'll pay like a little less to get the upgrade my Switch Online to get this one." They can still get
it's about the same overall. Do you have the expansion plus? It's more than a game's worth.
I do not have the expansion plus.
Do you want the expansion plus? I can do that.
We'll talk after, because the thing is so like I love Fire Emblem. Not the new ones though. I actually do not enjoy any of the newer Fire Emblems. Like anything after Awakening, I just hasn't clicked. But like the older ones, chef's kiss. So when they said that Blazing Sword was going to be one of the expansion pass games, I already told Amanda the day that comes out, I'm going to sit my ass on the couch, and she can expect nothing of me.
Dang.
And that is it's honestly it's my favorite game ever. I think I've had to have played it like close to 100 times, and I'm looking forward to playing it at least 100 for the 101st time. I just absolutely love it. It's a childhood favorite, and it's something that I really enjoy. Actually, what really sucks is that and this is actually going to something one of Carter's predictions from last week, where at least one of his talking points was how they have the Pokemon TCG game for the Game Boy Color, and it's like, oh, maybe they'll put the
Japanese port for 2.
So there are 3 Fire Emblems that came out for the GBA. So it's Sealing Sword, which is the 6th game, which features Roy. The 7th, Blazing Sword, which is just Fire Emblem, the first game in the States, which is the prequel to Sealing Sword. It features pretty much all the characters' parents. The main character being Roy's father. And then there's Sacred Stones, which no one cares about. For the expansion pass in America, we just get FE7. But in Japan, they're giving 6 and 7. So I think it's one of those things where, with the TCG, where they might not translate it, they might just say, "Oh, if you're in Japan, you might get TCG2 added at some point."
I will tell you, they have not shied away from putting untranslated games in the English Game Boy, in the English Nintendo player.
If we get I'm just saying, if we get FE6, you will not hear from me for a week.
There's a
I
handful.
will go MIA.
There's a handful of games that are all Japanese that are impossible to read. I still try to play them.
I don't care.
And
I'm.
It's fine.
Find someone else to do your tweets that week. I will be. Carter will take care over for me that week. You will not see me on the Discord. My boss won't fucking hear from me. I will be gone.
Yeah.
And
back
my
on track.
My spiciest prediction that I have not seen anyone make. We're going to get an announcement for the next new live-action Pokemon movie.
I don't think they'll do that yet. I don't think they'll let Pokemon do that because they still have the Mario movie coming out. They don't want to pull attention. They don't want to pull attention away from it this soon, though.
This is my prediction.
That's fine. I'm just telling you, they don't want. Don't be a sore loser if it doesn't happen.
Oh, I'm not going to be a sore loser. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to call this a fever dream that I thought up of at the last minute.
Sure.
Kind of was.
Sure.
If I'm right.
Everyone will have to come like the video.
Everyone will have to like the video. Like, comment, subscribe.
If you're not already.
Tweets, like all the TikToks.
Go hang out. Go check out the TikTok and the Twitter. And
the YouTube Shorts.
Yep. Which we didn't have any this week because Carter slacked off and ran away.
Tweeted for me.
Well, that's fine, but that's because he's there at the event and he's not doing his short stuff that he's supposed to. With that, I think we're pretty much done. We covered everything. The Pokemon Day event should be starting here soon. As of the upload of this. So once this is done, go check out the video, the announcement or the event video, whatever you want to call it, and see if we were right, see if we got things wrong. Then come back and comment on the video.
Call us crazy or call us geniuses.
Yeah.
I really hope you call us geniuses.
I want either a new Mystery Dungeon game or just like another Mystery Dungeon game. I really enjoyed the gameplay of the DX Deluxe remake or whatever, remaster or whatever it was. Even though I feel like I don't think I've actually like gotten enough into it. I think I just did the story and then that's all I have.
That was one, so I planned on getting it, and then COVID happened, and then Animal Crossing came out.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. And those are my predictions. Or Knoxville. It's been
an episode. It's like almost 2 hours long, hour and a half, I think.
Honestly, you gotta like keep me on like tell me like Angelo tight 60.
Well, let's see here. We covered 2 regionals, which already is more than we cover in a standard episode. Anyway, it's a lot harder to keep things under an hour around an hour when you have 2 regionals in the same weekend.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of regionals. You had the Pokemon Day.
We had a lot to cover, and it's fine.
We did have a lot to cover. I think we also went and just did like some general just Series 2 changes. I think this was another pivotal weekend in terms of what's going on with Series 2.
And it all changes in less than a month. Nah.
Yep.
It'll be a whole new format at the end of the month.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. With that all being said, I think it's time we get out of here.
Of course.
I want to thank everybody for hanging out, listening, and doing all that fun stuff for us today. Like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Make sure to go check out our Patreon, where you can support the podcast for as little as $2 an episode, or 50 cents an episode. I don't remember. I don't remember what our lowest tier is because I didn't make it.
I think it's 50.
Is it 50 cents?
I think it's 50 cents.
Because there's a $2 tier or something?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to our $10 and up patrons, which include Dylan of Paldea, Papa Swish, and Johnny Bravo Sr. Appreciate all your support.
Next episode's a birthday episode.
Yes, that is the other thing. We'll have our official birthday episode instead of this one. So
I'm just saying, 3 straight years, no skipped weeks.
we have not missed an episode yet.
It's literally nothing short of impressive. Yeah.
But yeah, that puts a wrap. We will see you all next week for our birthday episode, and have a wonderful week.
Have a great week. Happy Pokemon Day, everyone.
Yeah, happy Pokemon Day. Bye, everyone.